Hello. This is what technically should be the third episode of the Rootrees are dead because my last hour of recording, apparently my OBS just forgot I had a microphone and I didn't notice. So for an entire hour I played and everything I talked about, all of the evidence that I read, all of the deductions I made, all of that just wasn't there. So I have just a video, an hour-long video of absolute silence. And when I discovered that happened, I was like, well, fuck, what do I do? I don't know if this game has an autosave feature, but what I did was I forcibly closed the game, and I'm hoping... No, it's all in here. Okay, well, I will have to figure out... I guess this is the third episode then. I will have to figure out how I'm going to record over an hour's worth of footage and try and recreate the experience that I had going through and sussing things out. Man, that's heart-crushing for me. Oh, boy. Well, all right. Let's pick it up where we last left off. I just looked up some of Lauren Roottree's novels, and the big thing that we found was A Life Between Wars by Lauren. She wrote like an autobiographical depiction of what occurred in her family during, a pretty significant portion of her upbringing. I was narrating my third monologue before I realized that I guess my microphone was off. So I will pick it up there. No, I won't, because the bit's over. I'm too sad. Not to say that I won't monologue again. But man, I'm really bummed. That's okay. I will do an audio recording that somehow conveys all the things that I was thinking. I'll rewatch the video and it'll all work out. Whatever. You may have already watched it, and this is just complaining for no other reason than I feel I'm sad. All right, let's go back to our list of searches. The Court Jester series is another book that Lauren wrote, but I also wanted to look up her maiden name. Not her maiden name, her married name, to see if that produces anything. So we're going to do Lauren Rafferty first. No. We've already read this one. So let's look up The Court Jester. Romance in Court is a book by Lauren Roottrees. It is the first and most famous of a series of 3 books often called the Court Jester series. All 3 books in the series are about different romances, but told via the same narrator. You can probably surmise the narrator's profession. The 2 other books were called Return to Court and New Romance in Court. Okay, so let's do... Return to Court and New Romance. Actually, yeah, New Romance in Court. And Return to Court. The books had some popularity when they were released in the late 60s. Now 30 years later, they aren't in high demand. All right, so let's go to the public library. We'll do New Romance in Court. Lauren returns to the Middle Ages with the latest chapter in the Court series. The About Author blurb. Right, this is literally where I was before I got distracted by my monologuing and then realized that my audio was turned off. So one of these 3 is Clancy. So Clancy Edward had a child named Clancy, but we won't learn more yet. I feel like it's probably Carl's father, if only because of a name similarity, but it could also be this person's. So let's go back here and then do, what was the other one? Return to Court. Return to Court. Yeah, okay. So we're done with this one. Now we have a lot of evidence produced from the book. So let's look at this. Lauren Roottree captures the evolution in perspective from adolescence to adulthood. And this is her husband who died in the war. So we'll go here. Do I want to confirm this? Who will I be confirming? Candy, though that might not even be her. Gwen. So it would be these three. Do I want to confirm these three? I can leave them unconfirmed for now, truly. And we can continue this meta game. Shit that I'm pulling off. I will keep her as an author, I suppose. Okay. Let's keep reading this evidence. The below are notes and observations you made while skimming through Laura Roottree's diary pages in A Life Between Wars. Lauren Roottree is on the notable Roottrees list in your evidence. The book was published in 1965 and consists of diary entries that stretch from 1940 to 1965. The most important event that much of the diary and Lauren's thoughts revolve around was the loss of her husband, Jacob. Okay, so this is Jacob Rafferty, who died in the war. The final months of World War II while Lauren was pregnant. This left her to raise her son, Clark, alone, who we've already identified. Lauren never remarried and only had one child. By skimming through the pages of the diary, gleaned the following information. She was the granddaughter of Elias and Gwyneth on her father's side. Her mother's family was called the Cossells, but she hardly ever mentions them. Okay. Sarah Cosell. Her mother's family, yeah. Her father, who she always refers to as Pop, was the head lawyer of the Roottree Candy Company and helped write the legal document called the Clancy Trust, which we've already looked up. It's clear from context that the Roottrees have internal shorthand names for the different generations of their family. Lauren uses them often. 5 pieces, the first generation. The next generation is Lauren's generation, and the 3 spirits, the generation after Lauren's, including her son. This is the next one, the complaints, an entry called Complaints from Lauren's Roottree diary. It seems everyone has something to complain about. Gwen, as an only child, complained of loneliness. As an only child, it seemed everyone had something to complain about. Gwen, as an only child, complained of loneliness. Oh, okay. I understand. I told her that being expected to watch after 3 younger brothers didn't feel like a blessing, but it fell on deaf ears. So these 3 are her younger brothers, all of whom one is Clancy, who is a professor of some kind. During the summer, where I went to stay with her and Aunt Margot. I hoped she would be the sister I'd never had and that I'd do the same for her. I even tried to dye my hair blonde to fit in with the 2 of them. What a mess. But she just complained. To her, I was the lucky cousin. Now she's off living the glamorous life while I'm stuck here with Clark. Must admit, seeing her everywhere contributes to my unhappiness. Her visage stares at me even now from my coffee table. She gets to be in starlet. Okay. This is Starlet, and tales of how she gallivants around the world, kissing the likes of Harrison Lane and Wild Bill Williams. Wild Bill Williams. She's the first Roottree woman to be anything other than a housewife, and I'm jealous. Okay, good to note. If I were not a single mother, could I make my own way in this world? So that means she is a housewife. she is a housewife. Well, we don't know if that's male or female. Roottree implies that no, that's a boy. So she was also a housewife. Oop. But I'm off topic. A girl with all the luck in the world was jealous of me. And now, though I've been undoubtedly burdened by a terrible tragedy, I'm also lucky to be born into a family that can support me for eternity and raise a child without worry, unlike countless other widows. If any of them were to hear me complaining, they would rightly scoff, just like I do at Gwyn. This is the dynasty section. I wish I had been a fly on the wall today. Clancy told me that everyone got quite heated. Granddad was furious that none of his sons would take over as president, but that's what he gets for holding on to it so long. With architects, preachers, and lawyers, nobody's got time for candy. So we've determined he's the architect, he's the lawyer, so he is a preacher. Nobody's got time for candy. So with the 5 pieces refusing to step up, it came down to us next gens. Pop argued at length that the company should stay within our branch of the family, since we still have the Roottree name. I'm not even sure Clancy would have wanted it, but he's the one who volunteered. Okay. Interesting. Instead, it ended up going to Zach. Even though his surname doesn't match the candy, he's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. So this is Zach. Either one of these could be Zach. Zachariah Morden or Zach Williams or Wilson. Let's look up Morden. There's a lot of Mordens. There are some Wilsons. So this is either Morden or Wilson. Gwendolyn's children. Because it's not in Margolite's because she is an only child. And it's not Miracle because he is male. We assume. So one of these two is Zach. Let's write these things down. So we'll do another page that we're going to call... Let's go back to our evidence. It was originally called... Where was it? Here it is. So we'll do this as next gen. Let's put this in our searches. So this we're going to call 5-piece. This is next gen. And then we'll call this free spirit. So instead of main fam, actually we'll just call this free spirit. And then we'll get rid of this one. So in next gen, well, 5 pieces, we'll do, we don't need this anymore. Gwendolyn married either a Wilson or a, who was it? Morden. And her firstborn son was selected to become president of the Roottree Candy Company. Okay. I'm not sure how that's relevant to running a company, but Granddad had always been very particular views when it came to his bloodline. And asked Clancy if it ever came up that a woman could take over. After all, Angie's older than Zach. Okay. So, Angela? All right, so Morden. Married a Morden. And her firstborn son was selected to become president. And then this is Zachariah Morden. He was president too. Morden. So probably James, because it's the only other Morden that is male. And then these both would be Gwendolyn and Caroline. We don't know which is which because of aging. So let's not worry about this. Oh wait, actually no. These two would be Gwendolyn. Yeah. Let's just put them in for now. Just so that we don't confuse ourselves. Because she's going to take on somebody else's name after she gets married. And we don't have a picture. Oh, wait. We actually might now. Okay. We'll look at that in a second. I want to keep reading all of this. But he just laughed. I'll never forget the cuss words Pop used when he told Ma it wouldn't go to us. Mother, ever the quick-witted, at least with catty remarks, countered back, maybe they wanted it to go to the only member of the family who looks like he samples the product. Ooh. Okay. So Zach may be overweight. Okay. Sam. An entry entitled Sam from Lauren's diary. From a previous entry, you learned that Elias Roottree had given in to his wife and announced that Sam, an obscure relative, was to be included in family gatherings. Gwyneth had been pushing to include Sam for quite some time. Lauren writes, why Sam? I have many distant relatives I've never met. After all, Granny had sisters and Granddad had a brother or two, but I was told, trim their branches from the family tree, so why is Sam special? Nothing adds up. And I'm not the only one to realize. Angie summoned all of the next gens to a secret meeting in Zach's office. Gwen's in Paris, but the rest of us, including the Miracles boys. So we know that this is Miracle Jr. We know that this is another boy. We don't know if necessarily... Oh, wait, no, we do know that this is him because of the star. But both of these are male, and that they're both Roottrees. Is there any way that I could say, like, unknown male Roottree? Someone's definitely... That woman's... Like this? That's somebody's mistress. I'm making a deduction. Okay. Spent ages trying to unravel the mystery. I didn't recognize Sam at Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy last year. Uncle. So this is her. Uncle Junior. To Patsy. Patricia. Could be either of these. Let's put that in our notes in the 5-piece. Elias is married to a Patsy. A Patricia. Patsy. At the reception, when I asked who Sam was, Pop shushed me and said it was complicated. Clancy swore he saw Sam working alongside the farmhands, EC and John. Do we know who John is? When he used to drive past the old Anderson farm on his way to work. Upon hearing that, Zach checked the records and managed to confirm all three are on the books. Eli, Miracle's youngest, not my brother. Okay. So... Lauren has 3 brothers. Eli, Clancy, and someone unnamed as of yet. But Eli... Probably M. Because Clancy is the C. So Miracle Jr. and Elias M. are Roottrees. Even chimed in. Apparently when he was riding his mini bike alongside the farm a few weeks ago, Sam gave him some old tools and taught him how to make the bike's engine faster. None of us think that proper for a multitude of reasons, but Eli certainly seems thrilled. At the end of the day, nothing explains why an outsider has cozied into family affairs, especially one who works on the farm of all places. Whatever happened to blood is thicker than syrup? Why is Granddad making an exception now? Clark. Clark's getting married and, in my opinion, far too young. And Clark. Interesting. It could be Clark due to the concern she's expressing for him marrying young. And Danielle isn't much older. We're gonna click all these faces now. Oh, that's Zach. And that's her generation, I suppose. Let's go back here, though. He's barely... Let's see. My guess is that... Let's see. We don't have a Clark, do we? Yeah. So maybe Clark is a nickname for Clancy. Or Clark is unrelated. But Clark is married to Danielle. Let's just put that in there. A woman named Danielle. Clark, like the rest of his generation, is a free spirit. Oh, okay. Clark, Danielle. So his first wife was Danielle Franks. I understand now. I totally forgot that Clark is her child. And obviously they get divorced. Oops. I'm so bad at navigating. What else do you call a group of kids growing up with more money than any one person can spend? They all aspire to be musicians and artists and dancers and all sorts of nonsense. The only one who has any discipline is Carl, but that's because Pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy. Okay, so Clancy... Clancy Jr. maybe I'm just getting too old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue paths of knowledge. The most rebellious thing any of us ever did was bring home someone who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. Pop seemed to have gotten over it because Edward is set to take over his department once he retires. Okay, so someone married. Edward is a black man, presumably. So next gen. One of Lauren's sisters is married an African American in all likelihood, named Edward. Pop seems to have gotten over it because Edward is set to take over his department once he retires. I don't quite know what his department means. As for me, my first published book, Swashbuckle My Heart. We haven't looked at that one. Up. Is based on the pirate stories I used to invent with Jacob when we were walking. That's her husband, or previous spouse. I think he'd be proud that Clark and I are carrying on his name. Don't quite know what that means. Even my cousins are doing well. Zach's not a bad president after all, and his sister seems to be doing a good job raising her twins. So his sister, Angelica. Good job raising her twins. So she has twins. Okay. So these are twins. Gwen is Gwen, but at least she came out of the divorce with her head held high. She even told us she might come home next year so we can meet her kids, but the free spirits in any other family, they'd all end up on the streets, even Clark. All right. So that was the Life Between Wars. Then we have the pictures that we got. We'll start with this one. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the 5 pieces. Caption 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This picture was famous in our house. Pop even had it framed. That's him on the left. And there's this guy back here. So this is her father? I would have imagined that these were the 5 of them. Angie and I both wanted to be in the photo. Oh. Oh, no, this is Lauren. Okay. Pop. Okay. Yeah, her father is on the left. I got confused. I thought Pop was referencing her grandfather. So this is Clancy Roottree. I don't think I have anyone else confirmed right now. Purposefully. We can take this out too. And we'll take... I don't want to get rid of his lawyer, because I'm going to forget. I guess it is safe to... Like, we have a lot of extra people, so why don't we identify all 5 of the people up here? Okay. Angie and I both wanted to be in the photo since Miracle was in it, and the 3 of us were all about the same age. We were told only the 5 pieces, which really didn't go over well, to say the least. Eventually, I suppose I suppose to stop the tantrums, they posed us in front of the camera with Mr. Morden, who was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. I found out years later that they never even took a second photo. Interesting about this guy in the back. Just making sure I actually got everyone. No secret pictures in the background. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures, a caption, in an attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces photo with our generation. For old time's sake, we gathered on the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand all the way on the left, since to me he looked a lot like Pop did in the old one, but it was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together, so we clumped up in the middle. And let everyone filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. Grandma insisted that we include Sam, even if we didn't want to. None of us understood why, including Sam. I also didn't think it fair Miracle made it in, since he's technically a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge even after all these years. Well, the only one that doesn't have an eye, like, he has sunglasses on, presumably to mask his eye injury still. But this is definitely Zach, because of the insult levied at him. And he was indeed the 2nd president. Do I want to commit? I think I do. So we'll add him for sure. And then I think we're going to do these starting from left to right. So Gwendolyn Roottree. She's blonde. Let me reread this, though. I wanted Eli to stand all the way to the left, but I was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together. So these 4. So these are her brothers. This is the youngest one. And I'm guessing 1, 2, 3. So let's do... Wait. Who did she say looks like him? Eli. Eli looks like him. So this is probably Eli Roottree. Right? Yeah. So this is Eli. C. Is he a professor? Is this the professor? Yeah. All right, we're going to get our next blood relative clue. Booyah. All right, so we got a lot of things confirmed. Not bad. We're going to get our next bit of information.
You're on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes. But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Roottree reunion. I also found some important-looking papers. You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
Okay. Let's not get too bogged down with our new evidence. We still have a lot to confirm here. So I got their photos mixed up. So let's do... We got to swap these. But everything else is good, it looks like. I think so. We're just looking at some of the stuff that I filled in that I have not, like, committed. All right, so now what do we want to do? We could finish off the Rootrees at the top. But I kind of want to get their spouses. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whenever I do it, it'll be confirmed. I mean, we could just not put their portraits in for now and leave them for later. I might even have enough, truly, to get the next 9 Rootrees. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 Rootrees. 10, 11. Like, I could get to the next stage, but I feel like that's a little bit of information overload, and I don't necessarily want to do that quite yet. This is... We know this, don't we? Eli Clancy... Okay, hold on. Oh, right. Yeah. Let me edit this, because we don't need this anymore. Eli Clancy and someone else. We don't know their name yet, I guess. One of Lauren's sisters married an African-American... I guess it's not her sister. But somebody else in this generation. All right. What were we doing? We were looking at this picture. So this is probably... Who is Sam then? I guess her. I bet this is Angelica. I'm guessing Sam is the redhead. But I guess that would defy convention, right? Like a woman working in the farm. But I don't see anyone else that could be Sam. Because we've identified these two as her brothers. I'm like 90% sure that this is Miracle Jr. Or Miracle. Probably his youngest. Or his firstborn, actually, in all likelihood. Yeah, and Gwen isn't here. So if we look at this, we've identified those. Yeah, Miracle is in it, so we can put him... Do we want to confirm? Yeah, we've agreed to do that. My guess is that this is then Miracle Jr. because the other one hasn't been born yet. And then there are 2 more. Interesting. Oh, maybe this is Sam. I think this is Angelica. So, Angelica, the daughter of Gwendolyn. And then this is probably Sam. Who is Elias's daughter. what other root trees do I have to name? I have Edward and Jack. Those are the last two. Oh no, I see. Miracle the Third of Robert and Ronald. Why is it that his name is never brought up yet? It's interesting that this is somebody who is part of the bloodline and unconnected to anyone else. Okay, so let's look at our new evidence then, of which there is a lot. We'll look at this one. This was buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. It had a handwritten note that attached, or it had a handwritten note attached that seemed personal. It is a flyer about a candidate for local office, Stephanie Jones. On the back is an excerpt from a newspaper article from the Butler County Times about her campaign. Stephanie may have grown up in an unconventional family, to say the least, but in her words, it was still full of love. And now, 22 years later, with a baby of her own around Christmas, her message for voters is simply, love is our future. The handwritten note says, Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let our conflicts spread to the next generation. CM. So Carl, we're looking for CM, who has an as of yet unborn child. Could be Caroline. Okay. We'll look at this one now. This photograph has a note attached from your employer. Here is a bonus. When I pulled the water damage picture of the free spirits out of the frame, this fell out too. All right. Well, before I do that, then let's look at this one. The free spirits. It's a black woman, not a black man. He has the tie on from his father, I would imagine. So this is probably Junior. That's Eli. Redheads. The only redheads in the family are from Sam's lineage. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Every 20 or so years, the Rootrees would hold a big reunion and recreate an old family photo. This is the one from the 70s, and Carl's the teenager in the middle. Okay. Let's just quickly... Oh. Advertising? Is that what we said? Or he's like a CEO of Root. So maybe we just do CEO. We'll put that in eventually. It doesn't matter for right now. Sorry about the water damage. A pipe burst in Carl's office. On the back of the photo in childish print writing, it says November. So probably her. There are also a large number of cursive signatures. They include Bonnie, next President Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottree, Carl, Clark, and Eli M. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, assuming if we include November. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this identifies all of the names in here. Okay. Let's look at Sam. She has 2 children. I dog hears that I'm recording, but I have the door closed. I know, cruel, but he's okay. Let's see. So, Miracle Jr. Eli M. Basically, let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's interesting because November probably... I mean, no, November could very well be one of... Well, I don't know. Maybe these are actually the kids. Because Edward is framed as a... Edward was the person who they framed as someone you couldn't get married to if you were south of Pennsylvania. So maybe these are 2 daughters. So that would work. 12 would work in this case. Oh, sorry. He has indeed come in. If you will give me a moment, I must see what he needs. Hello. I've returned. I was brought to the kitchen and went to... I was brought into the kitchen and then directed towards his food bowl, which is empty. Dinner is not to be served for an hour and a half. He had plenty of water. So I gave him a little bit of cuddling, and now he is pacified, I suppose. That's what I get for recording 2 sessions back to back, because I get a dog who's like, excuse me, your most important priorities need to be focused upon me. Okay. What was I doing? I got distracted. Oh, we're reflecting on the 12 root trees. So this is the free spirit generation. We have not identified... I'm guessing then Angelica... No. Edward Roottree married? Hold on. I need to go back into this and reread this. It was the previous one, right? No. Dynasty? Where was the remark on this? Patsy. Complicated. Clark. All right. Even just getting old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue paths of knowledge, and the most rebellious thing that any of us ever did was bring home somebody who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. Okay, so actually, it's one of these two. And it's him, right? Well, no, because he only had one kid. So, which of you had 2 children? Zach and Angelica, but Pop seemed to have gone over it because Edward is set to take over his department. So Edward Roottree, whoever that is, married a black woman. But I've identified everybody in this generation, haven't I? Especially because nobody has 2 children. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm misinterpreting this. Oh God, I'm so fucking bad at navigating. It was in here. My brothers all seemed to pursue paths of knowledge, and the most rebellious thing any of us ever did was bring home somebody who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. Edward. This is Edward. He did... Okay. I understand now. And then he had a child who is probably November. I guess she might not be African American. Like, her skin tone probably matches. But this is November, I think. So, November. She is a child. Actually, she isn't a child anymore. She's an adult at this point. We don't know what she's up to. Oh. Huh? There. Wait. Why is it only women? Is that meta? Hold on. No. But why would it be here? Because I gave her the name November. I'm stupid. It's like, you're giving me free hints. That's not fair. Well, she'd be an adult now. But we can look her up, I suppose. All right, so let's do this. We're going to copy. And we're going to go to our notes and the free spirits. All the names of the free spirits. All right. Bonnie, next president Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottree, Carl. I guess we can start eliminating some of these, right? Let's do instead all the names of the unidentified. So we have discovered Clark and Carl. Jim, assuming his name is actually James. November, we determined Miracle Jr. the third. Or I guess that is just Miracle Jr. And Eli M. So, for whatever reason, probably because of age, they are in the same group because they're the same ages as all of these kids are. So I think we've determined this. I'm going to guess that this is Miracle Jr. the third. I mean, that's a fair assumption. Well, I guess it... What happened to the second? Miracle the third. Never mind. I understand. But we do not know a Gwendolyn... Gwyneth M. No, we do. All right, so Gwendolyn and Gwyneth. So we know Gwendolyn, because that's Zach's kid. Gwyneth M. So we don't know Eli or Ernie Jr., Guy Hudson, Bonnie, Caroline, or Gwyneth M. I'm going to guess then... It's so hard to guess. We're not going to worry about it then. We will refer to this at some other point. This photo was tucked inside an envelope with a letter beneath a candle in the corner of his office. The letter says, "To Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry that you are unable to attend the funeral. It is traditional to have it as soon as possible, and Ernie, more than anyone else on Earth, knew how busy your job can be. I've enclosed a Shiva candle identical to ours if you'd like to pay your respects, though it is not expected for those outside of the faith to do so. Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense amount of pride for the work you three did together, as well as how Carl has carried on for him after taking over." Okay. So I'm guessing this is Ernie's wife and child. We do not know who Ernie is, but he is one of these people. Okay. And then what's the last? This. After some time, they returned with new resources, a photo of Carl's generation taken in the mid to late 70s, as well as some papers and mail from his office. Okay. So there were some things that I wanted to research at this point. But I do think now is a good time for me to pause, because it's been just about an hour. And I'm at a point where I want to start, like, doing a little bit more research. I guess I don't need to have him as CEO because it's the most recent occupation. It seems like Carl took over as president. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do some cleanup. Do we want to just identify a bunch of people at this point? I don't want to, but I should. I mean, I could at the very least... Who do I want to keep, you know? I want to keep these two because it's really easy. His first president, housewife. He's really easy to... Like, these are also really easy to keep. So, I don't even know if I need to, like, do this. So maybe we just say... Maybe we just leave it here for now. I am curious about this one. I think we can do... I can't tell who is who, but they do kind of look like twins, don't they? Those are almost certainly her children. Is Bonnie Hudson, Christopher Hudson, Guy Hudson. So she married a Hudson. So this is Bonnie, I think. Well, no. We don't actually know this for sure. All right, we'll wait. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you had fun checking this one out. Hopefully I can figure out a way to record over my last episode. By now you've already watched it if you're watching in sequence, and I have. But it's preoccupied my thoughts this entire episode. About how the fuck am I gonna record an entire hour of like me thinking. I'm so disappointed. Anyway, I shouldn't bog this episode down my frustrations. I will be back with another episode. I hope you keep watching. I love this game so far. It's been really, really fun. I feel like I've got a lot of threads that I can pursue. I want to research a bunch of people's names at this point, because we have a lot to work on before I commit to the next 9 identifications, just so that I don't have too many threads to pursue, you know? So yeah, this will be kind of interesting. I'm also noticing that this thread here is the same thread that's used over here. And I'm wondering if RR tried to get Samantha out. And that might be what that whole thing is. I do really like that his name is Red Herring. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.